Bam.
Yeah,
Start.
Rourke, we'll try tonight. We'll try to get all 499 pages explained.
Rourke, I'm going to explain them to you like this, buddy. Read.
Get out your Latin. With all that going on, I'm going to say this, and I'm going to say it how I was raised to say it. It's nobody's fault but our own. We made this happen because we blew up the phone calls for the White House instead of the fucking FDA. Instead of worrying about the FDA's phone lines and internet and not crashing that, we decided to crash the White House instead. These 499 and a half pages are going to turn into about 1,500 when they break it down for standard people to understand and to be able to comprehend it. So their big long words turn into three short words.
Andrew, can you turn your mic up a little bit, buddy?
You want me closer?
Not really. I just wanted you to turn up your mic.
I mean, my mic's down in my case, and I'm not dealing with that right now. I'm
Oh,
on my
okay.
phone.
Yeah, I figured
Uh,
that. That's why you're so small. Um,
I'm so small because I'm only human, man.
we're not even going to go there. Part, in a sense, you're right, Andrew. It's not. I don't think it's all the phone calls to the White House because they were needed. They needed to know what we wanted to do. A lot of it had to do with we as a community cannot get together. We have problems coming together and deciding, okay, we need to fight on this front with this group, whether it's Vapor Technology Association, VTA, or SAFATA, or the CASA Call to Actions, or the militia. The one thing that I saw argued about the most, and I was even guilty of it myself, was those whitehouse.gov petitions. Now, let me say this before I say anything else. If it makes you feel better to sign every damn petition that comes down the pike to, to, to put towards helping vaping, then by all means do it. But it's already been shown that those petitions ain't helping a damn thing.
No, it's slacktivism.
They
Um,
don't they don't do much for government action. If it was a private corporation and you had the public petitioning them, that's a whole different category. Government doesn't care. They want face to face. They want to talk to you.
no,
If we're all not on the front lines, every member that's not there is counted as two.
right. No, my
That
thing
that's
is,
standard. That's standard. That's been standard for them since the Vietnam War.
Yeah.
I my my dad is a Fed. He doesn't do anything with the FDA. He does stuff on the defense side. But this is how it goes, and this is what they're saying even in his office. What they're doing is they're kicking all the small businesses out and pretty much saying, "Fuck you. We want our money. We don't care about yours."
right.
Well,
That's what
and
that. That's what that. That's what that 2 years is.
the shitty thing is they're doing it under the premise of public health safety.
It's all about money. The biggest gangsters, biggest mafia is government.
Yeah.
And if you want to get down to brass tacks. If you read through enough of it, it ain't about public safety. It goes, like you said it earlier in a comment, Kevin, it rolls right back to save the children.
Yeah, they definitely repeated that. The youth The influence of youth on renormalizing tobacco in the form of vaping, they repeated numerous times. And, in spite of all the testimony we gave when everybody went to Washington and sat in front of the um, committee for the budget management, they ignored all of that. They threw that right off. They answered the concerns with the FDA disagrees on all of them but about two.
Yeah. And, that's the one thing that I'm still, um, I guess I have a real issue with that because, excuse me, every time you saw something in as far as I got anyway, such and such brought up Article 401A and said we don't have the authority or that was unconstitutional, blah, 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 blah. In the very next paragraph would be the FDA disagrees.
Yeah.
Well,
Well, and a lot of the times they would cite precedented cases to show proof that it's been done before and that they do have standing to cover that area of regulation. The biggest thing with the constitutionality of this is that as a company or a business, you don't have the same constitutionality as an individual does.
right.
And they can show that with previous cases and use them as set examples and precedents. So they're covering their bases against the constitutional lawsuit with the wording in this document. Anybody correct me if I'm wrong, but that's what I interpreted from it. I don't know if Tony's in here tonight, but he would know. Tony, are you in here? Yeah, he's probably slammed busy today. I wouldn't
So
expect him.
that or he may just be watching,
Yeah.
which is something I wasn't aware of. For those of you that don't know, apparently we have lurkers. Um,
I wouldn't call him a lurker, but
no, Tony from Vapor Technology Association um, regularly watches our show, which
there's
is
a
freaking awesome. Tony's been on our show. He's a great guy. Gave us lots of information the night he was on the show. I was hoping to maybe get him on tonight, but I figured he would probably be just slammed to the hilt with everything that's going on. So we won't push that issue unless he is watching and um, decides he would like to come on. Then absolutely we will let him because information is knowledge, and of course knowledge is power.
yeah.
Um,
No,
but
I think where we went wrong, and I have to agree with you when you say we did it to ourselves. We didn't we didn't face what we knew was coming in a mature industry manner. We were celebrating when the fight hadn't even started. And what I mean by that is looking at the shows we do. Um, yeah, it's great that we quit smoking, and I encourage you to celebrate that victory on a personal level. But damn it, they have taken what we have done and used it against us. They're saying we're inconsiderate, we blow clouds everywhere, and people are disgusted by it because they think it's as bad as smoking. And that's why they're banning it in public places. And they're saying it's a bad influence on young kids that think it's cool because the adults are doing it and they want to do it. And if we tell them they can't do it, they want to do it more. And it's this whole psychological process that they're blaming on us for our actions. So it is more important now than ever that we are considerate about how we vape. And I'm not saying you can't vape anymore outside. I'm just saying, you know, in a public place, don't chuck giant clouds onto other people because that's not going to gain us support. Maybe down the road we're able to do that when everybody understands the science and the truth. But right now, image is everything for us to win this battle. And that's a fact. That's what I talked to the state health department about today, and they are actually considering vaping being a part of their cessation program if we play the cards right. So we do ensure a long-term role in the whole scheme of this giant screwed up game of theirs, but at least we have a role in it. They want to, I'm trying to work with them to have people come off cigarettes to vaping. And when they taper down off the vaping nicotine, then they're going to implement their patches and their gums and their support programs. So we have a vital role still available to us, but we got to do this right. If we don't do it right, we're gone. We don't have a chance aside from the lawsuits coming through and changing this law right now, which saddens me greatly because all this whole facility is going to be cleared out and gone in 3 years.
Yeah.
Everything I put into this and do this 3,000 times over across the country, and you're going to have a lot of unhappy people that really don't want to go back to a 9 to 5. And there's going to be a lot of people that are going to end up going back to tobacco because of this. In spite of what they say, that's what it's going to result in. And I know the gum and patches don't work, but they insist that that has to be part of the program. They're hell-bent on, and they have no qualms about telling me they're funded by pharma. And they have no qualms about telling me they'll admit some valid evidence, but ultimately they only have to go by what the CDC and the FDA submits to them as fact. So we can give them all, we can have Farsalinos come in and sit down with us and talk to them at the state level or the federal level. They don't care. Farsalinos is not CDC and he's not FDA. That's how blind they are to outside information.
It's not that they're blind, it's that they're not paid by it.
Well, they're intentionally blind. Maybe blinders is the word.
Oh, I see Amy's here from
Yep.
not a vaping sheep. Hi, Amy. Amy 74. I have to agree with you because Chantix is not a good deal for me either because I get really bad. How to put it? I get really mean if I have to take Chantix.
It's
You
like
get aggro. You get aggro agitation. That gave me suicidal ideation when I took it as Wellbutrin, which is the same thing, just at a higher milligram.
Yeah.
I was on Wellbutrin from 18 to 19 for a year, and then ended up spending 10 days in a psych ward for something I don't remember. And the only thing they could link it to, because there was no drugs in my system, was the Wellbutrin.
There you go. But it's FDA approved.
Yeah.
Yeah, so is Oxycontin.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is.
So
Guess who did 18 months in rehab? Oxycontin.
Slimer brings up a very broad question, and I think we should probably answer that. This is going to take a while. We can wait to answer this, but it's a valid question. So
We can maybe give it as dumbed down a version as we can. I mean, basically, it's going to cost the juice companies a fuck ton of money. You're looking, what is it, $1 million a flavor
well,
per nic level?
we don't know what the exact fees are going to be. We're estimating $320,000 at a minimum, up to $3.2 million per nic level per flavor. Okay, they're requiring a separate application for each one of those.
Right.
And they're stating that each nic level makes a different product, unless you can prove otherwise. Which, if you got another $1 million to spend, go for it. Try to prove it, but they're not guaranteeing they're going to approve it. So you've got, for mine, I've got 6 flavors with 5 nic levels. That's 30 different PMTA applications I'm going to have to put in. The average PMTA, pre-market tobacco application, is going to take 1,500 man hours of a certified and reputable laboratory to do the research on. Look up the cost of a certified reputable laboratory. You're going to find $150 to $300 an hour. Do the math. That's about $320,000 at the minimum. That could go up to 3,000 hours. That could be as low as 500 hours. Highly doubtful. So it's yeah, I'm not going to do the math. I hate math. So
Yeah. Well, and that's just for the licensing fees. That's not counting anything else that has to do with liquid manufacturers.
right.
They're talking about labeling, packaging, childproof caps, of course, which we already do. I mean, everybody pretty much already has, the labels down, the caps down, the safety packaging, whatever. And then you get into devices. I did read that accessories would be exempt the way they're looking so far. But does that count batteries, wire, cotton, or drip tips? What's it leaving out? Nobody knows yet.
Well, they're saying that batteries are not necessarily going to be regulated unless they are specific to vaping. So,
And 99% of the batteries we use are not specific for vaping.
they're flashlight batteries.
Well,
Flashlights, laptops, power drills.
That's about one of the only good things we got out of this today was the batteries.
That and Timco will still wholesale to somebody their wire.
actually, Timco will not wholesale to a shop.
Not to a shop.
To
But
me
say
or you,
somebody,
they would, but a shop they will specifically tell them to order from VapoWire
And
because
Riz,
my shop that I work at on weekends tried to buy directly from Temco, and when they found out he owned a shop, they told him he had to go through VapoWire to buy.
hmm,
And I told him, I said, well, you might have to, but I don't.
Riz,
yeah,
I have to comment on your chat room message there. They basically made it known in today's document that they can deem whatever necessary to regulate based on how you're going to use it. They made it very broad and sweeping as far as what they can regulate. And they basically said they can do whatever they want.
Yeah, yeah, they pretty much said, you know what? We're going to regulate every fucking thing we can get hold of. Except for zero nic. Zero nic liquid might be exempt. They did say liquid with no nicotine in it would be exempt.
Well, they didn't quite say that either. They made it sound like it would be exempt, but then they said that if it's in a vape shop, they could regulate it as a tobacco product because it's being used like a tobacco product.
Ah, so they kind of backpedaled on it and changed their
And,
mind later on.
yeah, and they said because the youth can't determine whether there's nicotine in it or not. It's got the same effect as the tobacco because it's vapor, and that was how they justified being able to regulate even the zero nic juice. And Riz, there's another area that they covered. Zero nic and they called it deceptive marketing or labeling. Um, I don't know if you want to get caught saying that vape juice is aromatherapy or it's anal lube or whatever you want to call it.
beard care.
Yeah. Any of that gets caught, I would not want to be in your shoes because that is federal violation.
Yeah, that was one of the question I was talking about earlier. That
Hey,
um,
Tamara.
somebody asked me what kind of offense it would be, and all I could say to him was, it would be a federal felony, and yeah, if they want to follow that up, if they can't get, here's the way the feds work for those of you that have never been involved with the feds, and I have been, so I'm being God's honest truth. If the feds want to charge you with something,
You're fucked.
yeah, because even if they can't get you on that charge, they
Unless
will
you're
have
Hillary.
something to fall back on.
Unless you're Hillary, and then you just skate right on by.
Well, yeah, if you're Hillary, you just delete the whole email server and be done with it. Um, but the way the feds work, just let's use this as an example. Um, the feds got you on tax evasion. Well, your lawyer can beat the tax evasion charge. But what will happen is somewhere in the background, the feds will come up with a mail fraud charge. The feds can always make a mail fraud charge stick.
Yep.
And you will do time for a mail fraud charge. So the feds always got something hiding in their back pocket. If they really, really want to charge you with something, I seen them do it.
Yeah. And before you guys ask the DIY question, um, they didn't. I got about 400 pages into this. I've still got another 100 pages to go, so I don't know what's at the end of it. But I don't think with everything else they've covered as well as they did, they're going to let DIY slip by as well. I think they're going to, somewhere in this document, they're going to have that covered very thoroughly.
Well,
And
that may be kind of hard because I mean there's so many uses for nicotine that they really can't regulate. Farmers use it for herbicides. They use it as an insecticide. Um, there's just so many things. So it's going to be interesting to see how they try to regulate it.
Speaking of federal charges, I knew a guy who was trumped up on trafficking charges of other substances, I will say. Let's say up until 5 years ago, they were still after him for it. And then when his ex wife went away, so did those charges because they found out that she was the one holding everything at all times because of she getting hemmed up. What happens now is he gets phone calls or he gets random stops from unmarked cars. That's what they do.
Hi, Granny. Glad to see you.
A lot of the big profile people in are in the radar. They're not being watched, but their money is.
Yeah. First, let's address something here. I see something about extracting nicotine from other plants. Right now, as far as the FDA is concerned, they don't give a damn what plant the nicotine comes from. It's going to be considered tobacco.
even synthetic.
Yeah, I was going to say even more than likely even synthetic. Because
It is tobacco in their book.
now that they have gotten hold of the right to regulate us, unless somehow between now and August that the shit gets slapped down by the White House, um, yeah, everything's gonna be tobacco.
Yep.
Anything, Riz. Here's how it's gonna work. Even though they are, I mean, technically tomatoes are actually not a vegetable; they're a fruit. Um, once the nicotine is extracted from it, it will be considered tobacco.
Yep. They covered their bases for sure. Hey Justin, how's it going, man? Thanks for coming in tonight.
Is my eggplant compared to a tobacco plant since they have almost the same amount as nicotine?
It's not tobacco until you use it for vaping, and then it's tobacco when it's nicotine, because that's how they're wording
Oh,
Mm. I mean, because I'm not sure, but I like tomatoes, um, eggplants, any
corkwood.
anything that produces nicotine is considered a nightshade plant. I don't know if that includes tobacco or not, though. Is tobacco considered a nightshade plant? Anybody
it.
know?
Yes, it is.
I thought it was considered a reason to taxate the citizens.
So that's how they're gonna get the whole it's all tobacco thing because they're all part of the same plant family.
Yep. Well, it's the intent to use it for vaping in a using the nicotine extracted for vaping, therefore determines it as a tobacco product. So for them, nicotine is tobacco,
Yeah.
and they are not going to allow a constitutional lawsuit. They're not going to allow the the discussion that nicotine is different from tobacco, because they've already said in the document that that is a done deal and they will not budge on it, and they have the power to enforce that. Um, the only way right now that I can see us winning is to show that it is unfair and burdensome to small business owners, that makes it impossible to comply with, and the consumers do a class action lawsuit against um, the FDA and the government. And that would be something that CASA would head up if they're looking at something like that. I don't know. I can't speak for them. Um, I'm not a CASA member. I'm an industry member of association. So that'd be interesting to see if they did that, because I think that would be one that could bring the constitutionality of it back into play.
Yeah. Kevin, before we go too much further with this, Foxy, um, in the chat room there, her stepmother does not do social media,
Okay.
but she wants to quit smoking. All right, she wants to switch.
Okay.
So,
Get her a starter kit.
yeah. Foxy, I am going to put my email address here in the room. Um, email me and I will get Kevin your information and yeah, we'll get you fixed up. Let me. Ooh, do I want to do this? Yes. Give me just a minute here, and I will get you.
Stacy, that literally was a sign. And now it's another kind of sign.
Damn it.
I think they're going to. Are you talking about CASA, Tamara? Biker Granny is Tamara from Northeast Colorado Vape Society, and she has been advocating far longer than I ever even knew what vaping was. Yeah, that's what I meant, CASA.
Foxy, email me at thegrumpyvapor@gmail.com with all your information. Um,
Let us know what flavor you think she might like too. We'll put some juice in there for her. Oh, and the free samples, that's another area.
0 milligram.
You cannot take a sample can be tried in a store, but you cannot leave with any in your tank from that store, any on your cotton from that store, because once you leave the premises with any of that free juice, it is considered a free sample. I don't know how they're going to plan to enforce that one, but it's in
Yeah. Foxy, email me with your mailing address or your stepmother's emailing address or emailing address, her street mailing address. Um, how much she smokes so we can get an idea of what Nick level to get her on, and then send me your shipping address also. Because
What is
since
this?
we're going to send Foxy 1979, we're going to send her stepmother a starter kit.
Nice. Send me
Um,
that address and I'll throw in a bottle.
okay.
nice. There you go.
And then, like I said, Foxy, make sure you send me your shipping address also, because I am going to make sure you get a 30 ml bottle of Trippy Drips. So, if you're not already, go to the Trippy Drips group. The menu is in the pinned post, or you can go to their website, which is trippydrips.com. Pick out a flavor, your Nick level, put that in your email also.
So see what just happened here, you guys? They don't see this side of it. They don't see how we're a community working to get people off cigarettes. We're not just celebrating. We're doing good work here. We're getting people off of what we know kills them. And this is the part that they don't see in it. It drives me nuts to see this type of regulation that, I asked that state representative, come into my vape shop, come into any vape shop with me and I'll show you what it's about. She wouldn't do it. She didn't want to do it, but
That's
she
because they
understands.
don't want to know the truth.
She was open and listened to me, and she's putting the request to the state for me to sit down. So that's all I can ask for right now. And the best we can do is partner with them to make vaping a part of that process of people becoming tobacco free. So,
Oh shit! Thanks, Riz. I didn't realize we had a Link Ninja in here tonight.
Riz is the ninja.
I don't normally have a Link Ninja because I don't give shit away.
You don't.
No, we don't do giveaways. We give away
Oh,
starter kits.
do you want to give some away tonight so I don't have to do it Saturday?
No, give your shit away on Saturday, sucker.
Fine, can I give away TJ stuff?
I don't care. If you want to give something away, you can.
Cool.
The only thing is,
Look at
I don't know if I have the, oh hell, the what you
Riz
call it.
got it. I'll put Riz to work.
Oh, you got his fan with Slimer there, man. See that?
Yeah, I know Slimer's here.
Oh, you don't have the randomizer.
Well, I do, but I've never used it.
Oh,
So I
great. That's
don't
good to
even
know,
know if I
guys.
can get it up on the screen or not.
Oh, you can't get it up?
Dickhead.
Take it to the group, son. It's gonna get wild this weekend.
Alright, let me see if I can get it on screen.
I mean, if you can't get it up, then how are you gonna get it on screen?
Will you shut up? Some people, I swear, are a pain in my ass.
I don't want to be a pain in your ass. Sorry, dude.
You're good,
I
brother.
almost went to prison. I didn't go to prison.
Hey, you got a problem with the people that's been where they shouldn't be?
No. I mean, if you wouldn't have stole your neighbor's mail, wouldn't be a problem. I've been in a lot of places I shouldn't be.
Yeah, well, me too. All right. Let's see if. Hey, look at that shit. I don't know why the hell you guys.
I can just think of a number. You can call out the numbers they say.
Yeah, do that, because this thing's being a pain in my ass.
I'll do it on Saturday.
Guess a number, and then you can message it to me or Kevin.
Yep.
It's an easy number.
Huh?
It's an easy number.
You know, I probably know what it is.
It's not 69, bro.
Yeah, that ain't what I was thinking. All right, so what are you giving away then, Andrew?
I'm going to give away the full line of Triad Project from my buddy Chris Booten and Irv Bates
Sweet.
out of Michigan. They've got 6 flavors. My favorite's Extortion. It's got the peanut butter. I sent you the number.
To who? Me?
To you.
Oh, there it goes. I just got it.
That was like a minute ago. Jesus.
Well, I'm doing all the producing, so. All right, so starting now. First person closest to Andrew's number wins the full line of Triad. Oh.
Somebody probably got it if they watched my show.
Oh, yeah, somebody got it. Midge?
Oh, son of a bitch.
Midge got it first. Sorry, Steve.
Oh.
Steve sucks at life. He got it. He was way too late.
That's exactly what I tell him every day.
What, that he sucks at life?
Yeah. Didn't you see like all the shit I tag him in all the time? It's always like miserable shit. Steve Cellini be like.
I still want to know, Mr. Steve asked me about it. Said he was looking for a DNA 20 and then can't figure out how much he wants to pay for one.
Dude, I told you, a burrito and $7.
A Dorito. Ain't nobody wants no moldy ass Dorito.
Burrito.
Oh, a burrito.
Burrito, you old fuck.
I'm deaf, motherfucker.
Well, I guess you're gonna be farting dust like TJ soon.
Well, he is only 2 years older than me.
Yep, 2 more years.
Rod's only 2 years older than me.
So.
You're gonna be farting dust too. Shit.
Yeah.
I got 4 years before I fart dust.
Midge, email Andrew.
There's only 40,000 emails in that account.
We'll get to it eventually. Probably still faster than the FDA will process your application.
Definitely mine, since I don't release till Monday.
You know, they've estimated 126 hours per year, 126,000 hours of processing time per year.
Well, that's because of all the vacations they take.
Yeah. So in a typical work year, there's what, 3,000 something 3,000 hours.
3,300, I think.
Yeah. So do the math. That's going to take how many people just to process those applications?
We just created more jobs, guys.
We sure did. And guess what? They're going to tax us because now we're tobacco. Every state and city is going to tax the shit out of us.
Mm-hmm.
We are
Are they
tobacco.
gonna put those cool stamps on our bottles now?
I hope so. Those little 50 state certified ones look like a piece off the old dollars.
Yep. And then some cities also have municipal taxes on top.
Yeah, we'll all be like Chicago, Cook
Mm.
County.
Yeah.
That place is so crooked, it's not even funny.
Well, it's because it's part of Illinois.
America, hey man, they just set the bar for everybody else. That's all.
Uh, Granny, what has to happen in the next 90 days? Um, wow, that's tough. Um, email your representatives, call your senators, everybody, email them, call them, write them. If you can get an appoint to talk to them, we've still got to let these people know this is unacceptable. How
Do
much?
not, do not throw bricks through their windows. They don't like that. Don't do that. That's a no-no. You, Steve, don't do that. Don't.
So Section 4 covers timelines. Man, this is the weirdest regulation I've ever seen. The way that they wrote this out. It's actually easy to read and understand, which is a first. But they made it like a comment and response regulation, and they're obviously justifying their actions, but they repeat the same information over and over to the comments. It's all FDA disagrees, and they repeat the same parts of the regulation over and over again. So they don't really answer our concerns. They just move along. But let me see if I can find.
Call from Amy Reisbeck.
That's the ex-wife. Like the ringtone?
Yeah.
You know what mine is from my ex-wife? If you'd like
If
to,
it is-
if you'd like to take a collect call, please press 1. Nope.
Stubbs, the link right above you where you posted the House of Gov Representatives, that's who you need to contact. You need to. Here's my suggestion: if you have a shop and you have the capability of doing it, flyers are awesome. Put flyers out on the counter so people can see them. If you have tablets, put a fucking tablet right next to the cash register. Have it up on the call to action page from CASA for HR 2058. That way people, as they're checking out while they're waiting to swipe their credit card or whatever, they can hit that son of a bitch and they can sign that right then and there. They don't have to go home. You don't have to wait on them to do it. So, hey, while you're sitting here, do me a favor. Hit that screen right there and do this call to action real quick. Quick, done, and you can get thousands of people to do it. If every shop in the country would just have one tablet sitting next to the register with that page up.
So I'm trying to find the text for the 90-day. That is when official publication will occur, and that is when the acceptance of the applications will start. We have 2 years to get those applications, and in some instances, an extra year based on the company size and difficulty in applying and completing that. What you'll also see at the 90-day mark is the labeling requirements come into play. And I believe they gave us 12 months on those. And you're also going to see a whole bunch of lawsuits come in right at the 90-day mark. You're going to have class actions, and you're going to have individual lawsuits, and it's going to be ugly for a long time. But you know what? They're not going to stop enforcing or moving forward with this law until, by law, they have to stop. No, shops do not have to take all the stock off their shelves. Here's how the label compliance is going to work, Tamara. They're going to allow you to sell through that old inventory. However, after the 12-month mark where the labeling requirement is mandatory, any products that have the date of the end of that start, well, if the date shows after that mandatory date and it's not the new labels, then there's an issue. As long as the date is prior to that mandatory date, the old labels, you're fine. I don't know what the labeling requirements for hardware is.
If it's anything like what they were talking about, at one point they were talking about, and a lot of places do it, are doing it now. Basically, what it'll boil down to is there will be, you may have a mod on display, but before you buy it, you can't touch it. You'll be able to look at it as long as it's in that case, but they can't take it out of the case and hand it to you to see if that's what you want to have in your hand or not. You're going to have to be like, oh, looks like it'll be comfortable. It doesn't look too heavy. Yeah, I'll take it.
If they're both wearing gloves, does that count as touching?
Yes.
Good question, though. You know, and as far as the grandfather date, I'm not even confident that 2058 will work because they're claiming, and this is straight from their document,
They
when the
found
response was that it was unfair, they said after careful consideration, the first one in the entire document that says they don't disagree, it says the FDA concludes that it lacks authority to change the grandfather date for the newly deemed products. The grandfather date is described in the statute, and they give the section of the FD&C Act, and that new tobacco product means any product. They redefine it, and then they go on to say it doesn't ban all of them because anybody who had a product out prior to February 15, 2007 will still be able to market. So the trade shows will, I don't know how the trade shows will be, Mitch. I really don't. I think there's definitely going to, well, it's going to be a tobacco trade show now. It's not going to be vaping. So however tobacco trade shows are done is how ours will be done.
Well, let's put it this way, because it does say, I did see in the reg sheets, as far as I've read, that the reason they're sticking with 2007 is because they found some type of mod that was on the market in 2006. So you're going to see trade shows of shit with something like possibly a silver bullet, something that was created back in 2006, 2007. Isn't going to be much of a trade show.
Yeah. It's going to suck.
It's
We
going to be
better,
We Tried show.
yeah, we better hope that the lawsuits bring some results, or I hate to say it to you guys, I'm not trying to discourage you or be a party pooper, but we're done. We are absolutely done if the lawsuits do not figure out a way to stop this.
Now, if I make a pass-through device that sits on my desk with the computer power supply, and it just happens to push a pass-through a 510, how can they regulate that?
Because at that point you made a hookah,
Yep.
and hookahs are regulated. Believe me, I was planning on making one for the Trippy Drip shop because they asked for something of that nature. They could hook up like 5 or 6 pass-through devices onto.
But what if it has flashlight ends on it?
Don't you remember the old mod, the touch? I can't even remember the damn name of it now. There was actually a touch sensor mod that had a flashlight adapter on it.
Yup.
Who was that made by? Um, Moon Mountain, Dark Moon Mods.
I think it was Dark Moon. But there are flashlight adapters that connect to 510s.
Yes, you can
LED.
actually buy them on Fast Tech.
I don't know what that is anymore.
What?
Fast Tech.
It's Slow Tech. Still.
Gear Beast.
No, it's still Fast Tech. Yeah, matter of fact, you can't even find Dark Moon on online anymore. I think they shut down their website,
Damn, son.
which is a shame because I have always wanted one of those. Even though I just got my silver bullet that I've wanted for like 2.5 years.
What? I think I have a silver bullet somewhere.
Well, I have one now. I bought one brand new. Got a hell of a deal on it too. And I even bought the full mech version, not the shitty one with the wiring in it.
I don't know. I might switch to tubes again and have an awesome flashlight collection.
I have an awesome flashlight collection without the flashlight adapters.
Well, you better fucking get them.
Oh, they're all sitting right beside me. What the fuck you talking about?
Your flashlight adapters.
Oh, yeah, I guess I better go on to that Slow Tech site and order about 20 of them.
They'll be there in about 2.5 years. You'll be good to go.
Yeah, right?
I had a package show up like 6 months later. I totally forgot what I ordered. I was like, oh, I don't need that anymore. Cool.
Yeah, now I can sell it. So,
But I'm gonna actually hop off of here. I'm getting old. I gotta be up in a couple hours.
Yeah. And you're gonna start farting dust.
yeah, no shit.
I already did that. I've got this thing called colitis, and you don't want that.
I know what that shit is. I don't have it, but I had a friend who did.
Yeah. I always know where the bathroom is everywhere. As soon as I walk in, I know it. But I'll hop off of here and go look at flashlights.
All right, buddy. Well, thanks for coming
All right,
on,
guys.
and thanks for
Good
giving
talking
away
to you,
some
bud.
juice.
Yeah, it was good talking to you, seeing your face. Rod, I
Sir?
didn't want to see your face.
Yeah, whatever. Dick.
I'm gonna tag you in
Well,
that
you guys
in the
feel all the
bio
love
thread.
in this room. It's just like all around these guys.
All
All
right.
right, guys, take it easy.
Have a good one, buddy.
Good one, man.
All right. Wow. Where do we go from here? Um,
I'm trying to find that timeline. This is just a sprawling document that really is void of any kind of organization on the tabs. Um, so it takes, unless you take little crib notes on what pages good talking points are on, which I didn't. I wished I would had when I read through it today. Um, it's really tough to find stuff.
oh, I know it. I was trying to look through to find out fees and stuff, and shit, I never got to it.
There aren't any fees in this. They are going to publish that. There is a draft of the PMTA fees out there, which I was going to look at after I read through this. But that can be changed, but that's going to be interesting to read too, because their fees are going to be on top of what you pay a lab. And Midge, that's my opinion that they won't entertain constitutional lawsuits on the on the consumer side. I think they will. On the industry side, they have pretty much covered their asses, saying it ain't gonna fly if we try. So we're saying it's a stifling of freedom of speech, and they're saying no, it's not. You're a company. It's a product. It's an action, not a speech. So that's how they're getting around it.
Oh, to run the free speech thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Justin, yeah, there is no specifics on cost, but I don't know if you heard me earlier. It's a estimated 1,500 hours of a lab to do the research work for your PMTA.
Yeah.
So it's at least $300,000 cost to the juice manufacturer per nic level per flavor. I know you got it. I don't even know how many flavors you got, Justin. I know you've got a lot more than I do, man. You've got probably a $1 billion licensing fee ahead of you, buddy.
Oh God, can you imagine what a company like Mount Baker Vapor, what their fees would be?
Well, Justin at Ohmslaw, God bless him, he's been making a lot of good flavors, and I don't know, maybe he can post in here how many flavors he's got. I think last time I checked, he had 14. 14 that I saw last time. I could be completely off base. He says 1 million flavors. But, just, and we're not big business, you guys. There's no way we can afford this. And the FDA is just saying too fucking bad.
Yeah.
That's how we're doing it. And if you can't do it, so you got 15 flavors now. And how many nic levels, Justin? 036. So that's 45 flavors or 45 applications separate.
Yeah.
So 45 times, let's say 300,000 at the minimum. That's a lot of money. Also,
Oh.
he's got one. He's got 4.
Yeah. Wow.
So you guys, let's not beat around the bush here. What this means to all of us is you will have very little choice in the way of what juice you can buy in 3 years, unless the lawsuits do something for our industry. And you will most likely be buying from RJ Reynolds or British American Tobacco, whether it's cig-alike or it's a 30 ml bottle. That's what it's going to be, you guys. Another good point, they did not ban flavors, but they do have some cause and effect research that's required to find out what different flavors do and how they can bring harm, and they're leaving that one kind of open-ended. So
Stacy, what that dealt with meant was that you could get help with your applications.
well, and what they'll do is they'll qualify you and they'll give you up to an extra year, but after that that's it. That's the deadline. If your products are not processed and approved, you cannot sell them. And now
Well,
keep in mind, you guys, that 1,500 hours is roughly 6 months. So you've got 6 months for the lab. And based on the FDA's time frames, I think they're going to take a minimum of 6 months up to a year and a half with their improved processing system that they're claiming is going to be more efficient. So you're looking at 2 years if tomorrow you filled out their draft version of their PMTA, you might get approved when the deadline hits, and you might still have all your products available for sale to the public. Everybody else, there's going to be a gap. And what that means for small companies like me, if I get no revenue for 3 months, I'm done. I can't operate on no revenue.
right.
And I'm sure a lot of people are the same way.
You know what though? I am curious as to. I mean, I know how this is going to affect most juice manufacturers, but I am curious as to how this is going to. I mean, I know it's going to affect shops that don't manufacture their own juice, but once, say, we get some mods and tanks and whatnot that makes it past all this, I want to know how it's going to affect the small shop. I mean, right now they're not going to have shit to sell the way it's looking.
Yeah, they're not.
Night, Foxy. I'll check my email after the show and try to get that over to Kevin yet this evening.
Yeah. Oh, she's already gone. I was going to say thanks for joining us, but so getting to page 120 here, and that's giving us some timelines. They are saying 1 year compliance period for section 911, and that they believe a 12-month period to comply with the restrictions set in section 911 are sufficient. And they give you 30-day period to continue to distribute the products in domestic commerce, but that's it. That's pretty strict.
You know what? That's a really good question, Stacy, and I'm not sure that that's something that either one of us would have an answer to. What do you think, Kevin? Do they just chance it and stock up on everything they have, or and just
It's
go from there, or?
It is a good question, and I'm sure a lot of people are considering stockpiling stuff, but let's just be clear about a short-term solution that is being used against a long-term problem. Eventually, even that is going to be depleted, and eventually you will have to comply. Um, it may work for a short time, but it's not a solution. Do I want to see people stock up on stuff? That's your choice. But I think more importantly, we need to look at how are we going to remain in business with such a heavy amount of fees that are going to be put on us to put our markets out for the public, or our products to market. Um, I've heard people buying 55-gallon drums of nicotine. That ain't going to last more than a year. Flavorings have a year shelf life from date of production. Doesn't mean they're going to go bad. Some of them might hold. It's just outside of a year, it's not going to be any good. So, I see a very negative impact for consumers as far as choice, and I'm hoping that they do file a constitutional lawsuit. We can't, as business owners. We've got to find another approach that'll work. HR 2058 is not off the table. And you guys can help with that, and that is by finding your Republican senators, unless otherwise noted. I know VTA has a list of Democratic supporting senators. Contact your senators and go in and sit down with them. Don't be afraid to do that. Just go in and sit down and tell them what vaping means to you and how it's helped you. That's anything anybody can do. And if they can't meet with you, meet with their assistant. They'll relay the message. But by all means, be professional and be courteous to these people. They don't write the laws. Most of them don't write the laws, and we need to get their support. So going in there angry or calling names, they're not going to listen to you. And I think everybody here is old enough to understand that. But if you see people saying, I'm going to go down there and do my thing and blow clouds, that's not helping us. No, Midge, we can't as business owners, because they're not violating any constitutional rights. So CASA, I think, has the best, what Granny said. I think those two can, because it's a violation of consumer choice. Yes, I think that is probably what's going to happen. But again, I am not a representative of either of those organizations, so I can't speak for them. Yeah, the trade industry, they really did use precedented cases. You can file a constitutional lawsuit as a business. They're not going to stop you from doing that, but your case is not going to be heard because it doesn't have standing to make it to a hearing. I know that sounds like a lot of legalese, but what that means is the judge is going to say that there's precedence on this case and I cannot hear it because you do not have legal standing, which means you'll spend a whole bunch of money and they'll kick the case out.
Yeah.
Yeah, as a business, you should push your customers to CASA. CASA is a very solid consumer advocacy group. They are doing things right. And Tamara keeps bringing up NFIB, and that is, I believe, the National Federation of an Independent Business. If I'm not correct, let me know, Tamara. Those guys and Chamber of Commerce is who we need to bring into this fight as well. There's Ivana and Dee.
Yes, we've got some new viewers tonight. That's awesome.
Ivana and Dee are on Vapers TV, and I know Ivana's in Canada. I'm not sure where Dee's at, but they're also under some pretty crappy legislation right about now too. So they've got a great thing going up there with THRA, and they've also got Dee is also in Canada. Okay. They're fighting the good fight up there too. I mean, it's all over, you guys. It's Canada, it's UK, it's the US. We see a guy out in India that did 10 years for having a vape pen and 10 cartridges in his store because it's banned there because it is not allowed because it's considered a drug. So when you think we got it bad here, it could be worse, but it's still pretty bad.
Yeah, Riz, I heard the echo. I don't know where the hell it came from. I think it's gone now, so that's a good thing. Yeah. But yeah, like Kevin was saying, CASA is a, probably one of the best consumer groups to send people to. SFATA, VTA are a couple of the better business groups that the vendors should be a part of.
Right. And Justin from Ohm's Law Vapers brings up, me and Amy were talking about this earlier today, the 0 milligram is considered a tobacco product. And they did that because they said basically we're lazy and we don't want to make an exception because there's too many loopholes in it. So we're going to call it a tobacco product. I am really considering going with kava kava instead of nicotine because it has the same effect as nicotine. I just don't know if vaping it will cause any kind of contaminants to be produced when it's heated. So if I can figure out that part of it, I've got an answer to where we're not tobacco products. But based on the wording, just like with the 0, is it still a tobacco product if none of them have tobacco? I don't know. This is all stuff that we need to ask and figure out.
Yeah, there's still a lot of questions with no answers yet, which is a bad deal. There's a lot of stuff I wish we had answers for to give to people. Unfortunately, you know, we can't always have the answers to everything as much as I know Kevin tries and the people that deal with me on a everyday basis in my groups know how much I do my damnedest to get the answer to every damn question. We can't be everywhere every time all the time and get them all. It's frustrating.
Yeah, it is. It's really frustrating. And Justin, again, I think no matter what we use, because it looks like smoking, they are going to call it smoking. That's my fear, is they're going to call it all tobacco. If it looks like smoking, it's tobacco. Yeah. So there's Amy's got some knowledge on kava kava there. So we're gonna have to try something. I mean, this is a horrible thing to happen to us. I mean, they're saying, okay, compliance periods, you guys. I finally found them, page 123 for those that want to know. 24 months for the labeling, 24 months for processing of application. The only exception to the rule is small ones. Hey Jay, how's it going? Small companies making under 5 million a year with less than 150 employees can get up to an additional year. But keep in mind, you cannot sell those products after the 3 years until you are completely processed and approved. You're dead. You're dead at that point until you've done the dance with the devil.
Yeah. Now let's let's make this clear though. We are not done.
No, we're not.
Everybody is singing our death knell. Stop. The fight's not over. What a lot of people aren't getting is shit just got started. You know, we've celebrated little victories here and there, but now the fight gets real and it gets hard. Now's when y'all got to stand up and take your part. Don't think it's over. It ain't over. Not by a damn sight. It's like I told somebody in another group earlier today. If you think I'm done, you got another fucking thing coming. There's a storm a brewing and it's about to get bad. And not from their end.
Yeah, and it's we do have a couple of options, you guys. I mean, there's no way the little guys can make it without a lawsuit standing or HR 2058 being sponsored and held up. And we had a discussion the other day about how making a compromise over battery safety and mods was bullshit because we're just feeding into their regulation. And the counter argument to that was, what is more important than the predicate date? And they continued to argue, but now that we're looking at this, there is nothing more important than the predicate date. I would trade the battery safety and the mods any day to be able to still have a selection of juice that I enjoy as a former smoker that vapes instead. I don't know about you guys, but that's the way I'm looking at it. I'll trade anything right now to allow vape to continue to be sold through that predicate date being changed. I mean, let's face the facts. We can piss and moan all we want about what we don't like, but at the end of the day, it's either that or we got nothing.
Right. Yeah, and here's the thing: if y'all don't push for the HR 2058 and that predicate date doesn't get changed, we're fucked. That bill has to make it past, because right now it's only made it past committee. It's still got to go through the next step, and then it still has to get approved by the president. Whether you like him or don't, this might be the only thing all of us can agree. If he passes it, this is the only thing I'm pretty sure that